Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is that you're listening
or watching
this latest episode of TurfCast podcast with me, Joe Redmond, and my good friend Simon Townley. Why on earth did you look so confused then?
Because for some strange reason, I thought, do I say or listening? And then you said listening, and it just threw me. I just got confused.
You looked, honestly, I'm not saying you look that confused for a long time.
It caught me off guard. I was ready to say or listening for some strange reason, even though we've done 48 episodes and I don't of saying that.
Yeah, there or thereabouts. Anyway, how are you, mate? All good?
All good, fantastic. Euros, get ready for the next round now, so I can't wait.
Yeah, England are obviously in the quarterfinals. We'll get on to that into the quarterfinals. I was going to say semi-finals. It's because I'm in my head. I'm already halfway there. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Even though I've not even got ahead of myself in the sense that I'm booked like plans for the final, which I have done, just in case. I've even been messaging people saying, well, we'll probably have a trophy parade, so we'll have to go down there. That's how far ahead of myself I am now. It's just, I'm off the scale ahead of myself. But before we get ahead of ourselves on the podcast, it is, of course, the quarterfinals this week, and they start tomorrow. 2 games on Friday and 2 games on Saturday, I believe, were the last game. We'll get into them. I said tomorrow, at the time of recording this tomorrow, obviously when you're listening to it, because it's coming out on Friday morning, you'll probably all be listening to it on Friday. So then they'll start today. But we'll go back and have a look at the quarterfinals which started a long time ago, it feels like, all the way back on the 26th of June as Wales took on Denmark. Now, I expected Denmark to win this one, but I didn't expect them to win it so comfortably. Wales just didn't turn up. Or having said that, I think Denmark played really well, to be fair.
Yeah, it were key moments in the game and deciding factors. And I mean, I was slightly disappointed in the Welsh reaction because they seemed to act like they was sort of victimised to a point. Like, it was clearly a foul for the first goal, and then the second goal wouldn't have happened if so and so had happened. And I just thought, hang on a minute, but you're clutching at straws here. It was a 50-50 game till that first goal, maybe.
Yeah.
But for me, what happened was they self-destructed. They tried too hard. They were losing their heads. The cool had gone. It was disappointing because you know me, I don't really mind the Welsh. I like the GB teams doing well. But I was disappointed to see the manner of the defeat. But I know that you won't have been.
No, I was disappointed because I like to watch a good football game. I'm happy they went out. Of course I am. But I wouldn't even go as far as saying I'm happy because it's not something I'd have lost sleep over if they'd have won. I'm not like one of these Scotland fans that genuinely hates England that much that they will lose sleep over it if we win the tournament. When Wales got to I think I actually celebrated one of their goals in the last tournament. All right, it was a Sam Vokes goal. But still, that shows how much I'm not overly bitter if they do well. But I did want to see a good game of football. And I think in the first 20, 25 minutes, it was a decent game of football. Like you said, 50-50. But then the Danes got that goal. And then after that, it were pretty much just all Denmark. And I don't know. Obviously, Denmark are missing the talisman. And they'll miss him forever. I don't think that's been confirmed yet. But it's looking like Eriksen won't play again. But Wales still had Ramsey and Bale. And I expected more from Wales. I expected more from Wales, but I'm happy to see Denmark through, not just because of the England fan factor, because of everything they've been through this tournament. And they have kind of become my second team up until the semi-final, of course. If we get there and if they get there, then they'll be my most hated team. But, it is good to see them do well in it, to be fair.
Yeah, I like it. I listened to Stuart Pearce talk about the Olympics that are coming up, and they were asking him like, where does the Olympics sort of gauge for football? And expecting him almost to diminish the fact that it's just like an afterthought maybe. But he basically said that 5 of the team that he picked were Welsh and had never played in a major competition, and people like Giggs and people like that. And it would be a shame to see some of them players not get to play in a major tournament. I do wish them well, and I like to see them progress because some of them players have probably ended up playing for Burnley. You never know.
Yeah, fair enough. It seems like ages ago done at that game, but obviously later on that day, Italy against Austria. Now, I think we predicted all of these, didn't we? I think we both predicted an Italy win, but they made it hard for themselves, didn't they? I'm still not Italy's biggest fan. They've not come up against a good test yet. Belgium's going to be their test, and we'll get into that. And I've been saying ever since they won their second game that I've mapped it out. And I'm like, well, they're going to play Belgium in quarterfinals. I've always said they'll get beat by Belgium at quarterfinals. That's a massive. That's the game of the quarters. I cannot wait for that one. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm not really looking forward to the England one because I know it'll be a nervous wreck, but I'm really looking forward to that one. But Italy made it hard for themselves against Austria. Obviously, only got the win in extra time. But obviously, the flip side of that is it's knockout football, and as long as you get the win, you get the win. That's all that matters. But again, for me, I'm watching Italy again there and not really feeling too worried or being overly impressed about them.
I still think Italy are a good international side, like one of the top international sides. There's no argument about that, I don't think, from anybody. And they've been even better than I thought they would be in this Euros.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I would agree with that.
Granted, the last performance might not have uprooted any trees, but I think Belgium and Italy, it's not going to be a 4-3. It's not going to be a 3-2, in my opinion. It's going to be a 1-0 sort of game. And you'd expect an Italy side to put a good performance in defensively. Let's see if they can break Belgium down, because they're looking pretty fucking good at the minute, if I'm honest with you. They were one of my favourites from day one, as you know. We were speaking about this in the group chat, and I think Belgium would be hard to beat for any team. So unfortunately for Italy, I think this might be the end of the road, but it is a good Italy side we're watching, better than I thought they were.
Yeah, I agree with that, and obviously we'll go more into the quarters in the latter part. But obviously for the Austria game, I know you said they didn't pull up any trees, but and they were missing the captain as well. Name escapes me off the top of my head, but they just didn't seem to have as much flow going forward, did they? Now, obviously, I think I've kind of know what's happened there. Everyone's seen how good Italy are going forward, so Austria have set up a bit more defensively than some of the other teams would have done that have played them. But still, it's on them to break them down, and I think a better side would have broken them down before the 95th minute or whatever it was. I just feel like Italy, I thought they were going to go through, but I thought they would have done better.
Do you know what? It's interesting because, again, we're doing exactly what the media do. But I heard a radio show and they were talking about the forgotten team of the Euros are playing Italy. And then I was like, oh, who's he on about? And then he was like, obviously Austria. I'm like, oh, shit, obviously Austria's still in it. And it's true, we kind of treat them with a disrespect, but they played really well in this tournament. And if Arnautovic could just rein in a little bit, then he'd be a world-class player, but he is a fucking liability, unfortunately. Yeah. On his day, he's unplayable, mate. And he was really good in this competition. Don't get me wrong, I don't know what that celebration was about that got him knocked out for one of the games. It got him suspended, but yeah, he's a good player, and they've got some good. They've got Alaba, is it, on the left? They played really well, mate, and I was surprised how well they played. But unfortunately, the end of the road for them.
Yeah, unfortunately for Austria, they are out. Next game, it was the first shock of the
what a game.
Round of 16, but it was a very good game, of course. It was Netherlands against the Czech Republic. The Czech Republic coming out 2-0 winners on that. Obviously, De Ligt getting sent off. What did you think of that sending off, first of all? Because I know what you're going to say, because I've already asked you. I kind of ruined like the magic of the podcast there. Obviously, I think you rang me up as it were on. But it's one of a more experienced defender lets them score there, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think because he got a nudge in the back as he was going down, he's done that annoying continental football thing where they flail their arms about and then grasp the ball in.
To make it look like he's just fallen into the ball.
It kind of
that might have worked 25 years ago, but when you can slow it down and see you look at it like that and then move your hand towards it on VAR, it don't work anymore.
The problem is, right, when I watched that goal, the foul and then the handball, he's just screamed and then got like that. And like you said, a more experienced player would probably let that one go, scream and hope that he got a free kick. And in my opinion, if he did not handball that and he'd have gone on to score, the fact that he got pushed in the back and then screamed, the VAR would have considered whether it was a foul or not. Because I mean, every single goal has been analysed for every single.
Yeah, they definitely looked at it. Whether or not, I don't think it was a foul. I just think he's got his body the wrong way around, and he's off balance because he's trying to get back, and then that's when he gets the nudge, and that's why he falls down. So he falls down because he's off balance. But you never know with referees these days. Obviously, sometimes they give stupid decisions, but I do think the refereeing has been pretty good so far in this tournament. And let's just take our hats off there for a second, because you won't see us saying that very often, any football fans or even here on TurfCast. And even the VAR has been very, very good until the English refs used it, and then it took the piss again, like 15 minutes to obviously. I can't remember who would do it. But Stuart Atwell, weren't it, on one of the VAR systems? It took forever, but of course, till it got sent off, we both agree it probably was red. And then Czech Republic capitalised goals in the 68th and 80th minute. Schick again, by the way, easing with a very good shout of the golden boot here, because I think at the minute Ronaldo's leading it on 5, and I think Schick and Sterling are both on 3. As Lukaku will have a few goals as well, but he's been one of the surprises of the tournament, hasn't he, Schick?
Yeah, he. Do you know what, it's like they've got better as the tournament's gone on. I don't think anyone can argue that. I think they were down and out for me. They were a bang average side, but all of a sudden now, if we progress further and get them, I'd take them a lot more seriously than I will be doing the Ukraine side. Let's put it that way. Even though we've already played them, we've already beat them, we should beat them again. I'm looking at them now and thinking, you know what, they're coming better as the race goes to the end.
Yeah, some teams do. I think we've kind of done that. I think we've all sort of like grown. Obviously, we'll get into our game in a bit, but I'm just using it as an example. I think we've all, as fans and as the team, have grown into the tactics. At first, we were all like, "What the fuck is this? It's so slow. It's boring. It's pedestrian." Now we're like, "Just wait."
Yeah,
and then bring Grealish on. Bring Grealish on.
That this tournament will get this tactic will get better as this tournament goes on. We've said this because it's not made for the teams that we were playing. It's made for your Spain, your Germany, your France. That's what it was made for. They're all gone now, though. So.
Yeah, well, Spain aren't, but they will be if they play us. But if they're playing us at final because on the other side of the tournament. After that, later that day, it was again probably one of the biggest games in terms of like the two teams' stature of the round. It was, of course, Belgium against Portugal. Belgium come out 1-0 winners on this one. Not very surprised, really. But Portugal are decent, but Belgium are better. The number 1 ranked team in the world, to be fair. But only got through 1-0. But Portugal didn't really play horrendously. I just thought Belgium were the better side. But what a goal from Hazard. And it's not Eden. It was the brother, Thorgan. And he's, Thorgan, is that how you say it? Is he now the better Hazard because Eden's been off for so long? He just seems to be the one that's doing the bits, as the kids say.
I definitely think that. I mean, let's be fair. If we're going to like a tennis version as a comparison, Andy Murray's like 150th ranked in the world right now. But that's not necessarily because of his ability. It's because of the way he's currently playing in the game.
He's 95-year-old hip as well.
And if you look at Torgan and Eden, right now, Torgan is the better Hazard, absolutely, because he's playing more, he's been consistent, and he's scoring worldies in the Euros, mate. So, yeah, I'd say he is.
Yeah, and what do you think of that game then? Obviously, Belgium, for me, I think deserved it. Portugal, they deserve to lose. I think they deserve to lose.
Yeah, I think for all the huffing and puffing, Belgium never really looked that concerned, in my opinion, on that game. No. I think it was a good game management. They aren't a team that wants to. Well, I presume they want to turn people over, but if you know what I mean by that is, if you look at Italy, like they were considered as a 1-0 kings before the competition because of Mancini's tactics. And I think that Belgium are coming across as that team for me at the minute. They just want to get that goal and say, right, break us down now. And at the minute, they're proving very difficult. So, yeah, I don't think that Portugal did enough, evidently, with the score, but I genuinely think that Belgium didn't even try really that hard to keep them out.
Yeah, fair enough. Good to see, but I kind of like Belgium. I've got mad respect for them. They've got loads of decent players and stuff. Obviously, ranked number 1 in the world for a reason. And they're one of these sides that's never really done anything international level. So, I think it's good to see them doing well at the minute. Obviously, again, when we play them in the final, sorry for any non-English fans listening, if we play them in the final, I'll probably start despising them, especially if they beat us. But yeah. Next game, after that, it got into like the really good day, like the really, really good day. Obviously, it was First of all, Croatia 3, Spain 5. Now, that only tells half the story. Because first off, it was Croatia went 1-0 up, and then Spain equalised, and then it just went absolutely mad. And I was furious, right? Because at half-time, I was like, sod it, I'll go to the gym. I had missed one game in this entire tournament, not one game in this entire tournament. So like 45 minutes ain't going to work. It's probably going to finish 2 or 3-1 to Spain, and I won't really be missing too much. But of course, not long after the the half-time whistle, Spain took the lead through Azpilicueta. Then they went 2-1 up on the 77th minute through Torres. Then all the hell broke loose. I remember checking my phone at the gym and seeing 3-1 Spain and thinking, oh, for God's sake, Spain are going through, because I'm in full England mentality now. I want all the good teams to go out, so we do well. Just like when you're a Burnley fan, you want teams around you to lose. So I were a little bit annoyed. Then I checked it again, I expected it just to say 3-1 full time, and it was like the 98th minute. I was like, what happened? And I checked, and obviously Croatia scored twice to take it into extra time. What a game. And I'm gutted to say that that's the only game so far that I've missed.
Yeah, what a game. It almost looked like Spain disrespected it to a point. They got to a point where I think they thought they'd won it. But you know that like buzz that a team gets when they score and there's like 10 minutes left or 5 minutes left, and the pressure's piling on, and you start thinking, actually, they're going to get something here. They're actually going to get something here. And Spain, I thought they were going to buckle in extra time, but they just got to kick up the arse. I don't know whether it's Croatia run out of steam, or Spain just got another gear, but something happened in that extra time. However, another 5 minutes on that game, mate. If that was in the 85th minute when that went, I think Croatia would have gone all the way, mate.
Yeah, I would such a shame to see Spain come through that. Again, simply because of the England's perspective, but I would pretty good to see Spain come through that. But just going back to what you said, I do think Spain managed to get back for like the last 15 minutes of extra time. And I do think Spain had a kick up the arse. Even Morata scoring, I think that to me says that there's been a kick up the arse there somewhere, because even Morata's on the score sheet. Yeah, exactly. So it was. He's had a few chances in this tournament, and again, not obviously bagged, and then he's managed to get a goal there. So that to me suggests that maybe they had a kick up the arse, and when he got to full time, they were like, oh shit, we could lose this here.
Yeah, and to be respectful to Spain, one of the goals he conceded was a horrendous mistake by the goalkeeper. He went to control it under his foot, and it went straight under into the net. So
I did see that.
Take that goal out of the equation. Would it have even got to that phase? It probably wouldn't, to be fair. So I think they tried very hard, and they almost got there in the end. And I think another 5 minutes in the first 90, they'd have probably got it, mate. But Spain, like you said, they got a second wind.
Yeah, and then after that was, for me, the game of the tournament so far. I know I missed that. Yeah, well, I know I missed the Croatia game, and that I was gutted. But then I wasn't so bothered later on, because I managed to watch what probably is a better game. Obviously, France 3, Switzerland 4, as it is on here. Of course, it was 3-3 in terms of the actual game. That doesn't tell all the story. So Switzerland went 1-0 up on the 15th minute and held out until half-time. They held out until just on the hour mark when Benzema scored twice in quick succession. And before we go on to the rest of that touch from Benzema, delicious, lucky, or a bit of both?
I don't know, mate. I think you'd be doing him a disservice if you thought that he didn't. That quality of player who scores them kind of goals for fun in La Liga, I think we'd be doing him a disservice if we didn't say that it was perfectly timed.
I do think it was perfectly timed, but I think the bounce has gone in his favour. It's incredible, but it's not. Some people were linking it to Bergkamp's against Argentina that time and Bergkamp's against Newcastle. It's not that quality. It's not of that stature for me. Maybe I'm looking back on that with nostalgic eyes. But them 2 goals from Bergkamp, it don't come close to them. It's a beautiful goal. I remember at the time, like literally creaming myself. Not literally, but creaming myself over the goal. And then seeing it back and thinking, oh, it's good, but is it that good? But it's still a very good goal nonetheless. And then, of course... Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say quality.
And then Pogba in the 75th minute, again, game over. I think I ended up not turning it off, but you're just on your phone. Yeah, good point. I forgot about that. And you've reminded me as well. He did that 15-minute dance when he scored, didn't he? He did a dance, then all his players cuddled him, then all players ran off, and he just stopped, turned around to the fans and started doing all this body pop thing. I remember at the time saying, "What are you doing, you dick? Get on with it." And he's thinking there he's like doing a new TikTok dance and becoming a star, and all kids are going to do the Pogba. But it ended, obviously, Switzerland end up winning the game, and now he just looks like a twat. That's why, kids, if you're listening to this, that's why you never do one of them celebrations. Because if you get beat, you'll look like a twat.
I think it's incredible because, like you say, I think you can't dance like that and lose the game. You just cannot do it. You can't do certain celebrations and lose the game. That is a perfect example of why you should just rein it in.
Yeah, 100%.
The old Shearer, one hand up in the air.
100%. I just did that then. There's no wrong with that. No wrong with that. Not wrong with that. Obviously, that was in the 75th minute, though, the Pogba goal.
Chris Wood knee slide.
Chris Wood knee slide. Perfect. The Ashley Barnes go mental. They're all perfectly legitimate ones.
The windmill while he's running around at Wigan. Behind there.
Yeah. But, of course, that wasn't the end of it. Switzerland scored again in the 81st minute and then again in the 90th minute to make it 3-3. Then, obviously, it went to extra time. And Switzerland won on penalties. Obviously, the penalties were so tense.
Oh, it was so good.
They were all scored, every single one of them, until the final penalty when Mbappe, the world's golden boy, steps up and he can't even score from 12 yards. What sort of golden boy is that?
I know. What a save, to be fair, Sommer. He's a good goalkeeper and he played really well in that tournament so far.
Good hand. Really good hand. It was a good hand, weren't it? Because there were one before when
Russia.
Against Colombia.
Yeah.
Very similar. Because there were one before it, weren't there? Lloris got a hand to one of the Swiss penalties. Lloris got a hand to one, but he couldn't keep it out. It went into the net. But obviously, Son has got a stronger hand to it and kept it out. So good hand, to be fair. I'm giving Mbappe shit. It were on target, at least. That's a bare minimum. But it were a good save. And obviously, the day after, we'll skip past one because we're going to do, obviously, a bigger analysis on it. And we'll go straight to Sweden-Ukraine, who were playing for the chance to beat England. Did you not even watch that one?
No.
Are we still too excited about the
buzzing around FaceTime and everybody.
Yeah. I watched it because I were doing a scouting mission, to be fair. And we're watching it thinking, both of these teams are gash. We don't really need to worry about any of them.
I did watch 20 minutes and think that myself, to be fair, and then I tuned out.
Well, there you go. Like, obviously, I know we could end up shooting ourselves in the foot there, as every England fan normally does every single 2 years, or 3 years in this case. But I watched the first half thinking none of these will do us any problems. The only thing I did think was that I'd rather play Ukraine than Sweden, because Sweden looked better at the back. But then, of course, Ukraine ended up winning it in the 121st minute, by the way. It was nailed on for penalties. And then they went and won it in the 121st minute. So high drama in that game, Simon Townley. High drama.
High drama. It's probably the most entertaining game ever at Hampden, even though it was absolutely terrible. I'm
probably was. You're probably right.
Either side, I think Zinchenko, Yarmolenko, people like that are what make that game worth watching. But other than that, that's it, mate, for me. And we'll go into it in a minute when we say about it. But yeah, I'm not looking at that game as a highlight of what was 3 or 4 incredible games in the round of 16. Yeah,
fair enough. And of course, next is the England game. Now, I've left this till later just because I simply want to have a look at some of the highlights like we do with some of the Burnley games. If you're a podcast regular, obviously we have a look at some of the Burnley games on the highlights and analyse it through there. Now, it started off quite slow, didn't it? I remember tweeting after about 10 minutes. Obviously, this is the England-Germany game. I remember tweeting about it after about 10 minutes. And I said, all Germany so far, little bit worried. And I was at that point. And I say all Germany, they didn't really create anything in the opening 10 minutes. Not that I can remember off the top of my head anyway. But they had a lot of the ball and a lot of possession. Because I think that the chance that they had through Werner was later on in the game. But still, they had a lot of the ball, didn't they, and a lot of possession. So the first 10 minutes, I was a little bit worried, I'm not going to lie.
I was on pins, mate. They came out of the traps a lot faster and a lot more calmer than we were. Let's put it that way. Calmer, I think, is a perfect word, because for that first 10 minutes we were frantic. We weren't settling down with the ball. We weren't settling into the game at all. There were 3 or 4 times where you just think, "Fuck it, I'll just calm it down a little bit." Like we're running into blind alleys.
We just kept running into cul-de-sacs, didn't we? Just picking the ball up and going nowhere with it.
And every time they got the ball, they were zipping it round. They were, moving us all left, moving us all right, doing everything that you'd want us to do at that first 10 minutes. But then, like you say, it was about 10 minutes, and then the second 20 minutes, as we go to 20 minutes, we started to grow into the game. We started to look more 50-50, and then it started to calm down a bit, and we started being a bit more of an even contest.
Yeah, we just moved up the pitch, didn't we? I think that was as a collective. We just moved up the pitch, and then we were pressing them higher. And then when we were getting possession, it weren't give it Calvin Phillips, who'll then turn around and pass it back to Maguire, who'll then turn around and pass it back to Pickford, and then start again. It were a case of, well, we're in the zone half now. We might as well go forward. And then we won. We did quite well in terms of winning possession back as well, because we were higher up the pitch, so we were pressing the Germans quite high, and we ended up doing really well. And the first chance that we got came through Sterling, weren't it? It was from range, but it was a decent effort that forced Neuer into a save. And I thought when he hit that, that's going in. But you know what it's like when you're in these high drama moments, especially when you're watching England. It's mad, isn't it? And now we're up thinking it's in, and then it's a comfortable save, to be fair, but still celebrating and thinking it were in.
It is, but I think that was a turning point of like letting them know that we are playing.
We've arrived.
We've arrived almost, because up until that point we never really did anything. We never created. I don't have the stats in front of me because I'm not in my thing, but we didn't have as many shots. Yeah, in shed. We didn't have as many shots as they had. We didn't have as many serious.
No, they had more ball possession. They had 9 attempts. We had 4 on target. They only had 3, but they still had more attempts. They had 2 block shots as well. So the possessions were mainly in the Germans' favour, but the main ones, shots on target and the goals, that count in our favour.
Yeah, like some games you come off it and you think we absolutely battered them, and then you look at the stats afterwards and it's like 50-50. You think, fucking hell, I felt like we had all the ball. That was a game where I actually felt like Germans had probably the better chances. They probably created more chances, and then it was nerve-wracking, mate. But like you said, when Sterling got the ball, had that shot, it was almost like a kick up the arse, and like, come on, the crowd got buzzing.
Give everyone a lift in it.
Yeah, it was good. It was exactly what we needed at that point of the game.
Yeah, not long after that, Maguire with a half chance. He should do better. He should get it on target. That's what Maguire's for when he goes into the opposition box. He's there to win them headers and get the shot on target. Sorry, the header on target, but of course, it went wide on this occasion. Not long after that, Havertz. Sorry, go on.
That is not a half chance. That is a full-on golden opportunity that I was absolutely.
That's what I shouted at the time. That's what I shouted at the time. But maybe I'm looking at him and letting him off a little bit now because we've won. But at the time, I was like, "That's what you're there for, Maguire. That's why you're on the pitch."
That for me, mate, was a golden opportunity.
It was such a 50p head, weren't it? He's so good at that. Maguire is so good at that.
Exactly, mate.
He's
You're right.
Pecked off.
No, I'm not having that. It wasn't a hard chance, and I'm not being critical of him. I just think another day, another team. Because look how
he scores them for Man United every 2 weeks.
From that minute of the national anthem to turning around, and he were clapping them all and shouting and cheering, and I thought he's fucking well up for it today. Another game that would have been a goal, 100%.
Yep, fair enough. Not long after that, Havertz picks the ball up in the middle, sets up Werner. He's got to score.
Got to score. What a save.
He's got to score. Good save from Pickford. It's straight at him, but I'm not doing Pickford a disservice there. It's straight at him because Pickford has got out so quickly. He's out. He's there. I'm just watching it again now. Soon as the ball is passed, as soon as he gets it, as soon as he picks it up, he's there, out, and he's shuffling, and he cuts the angle down. Anyone else apart from Werner probably scores that.
Well, yeah, maybe, but we could say that about other strikers on the pitch later on. But when he did shoot that, if you look at Pickford, if I remember right, which I've only seen the game live and I've not watched it back, but it's the way he collapses his legs, because most strikers there I'd put it through your legs or take it round you, and he's collapsed his legs in a way to say I think it's a class save. It is. He's done
everything you want him to do. He's done there as Pickford. but I want to. People keep praising England's defence, and of course, 4 games in, 0 goals conceded. They're obviously going to get praise for it. But there were holes in it in this game, weren't there? Because of course, you've already briefly there mentioned the Muller chance, which we'll get into when it arrives on my highlights. But there's chances being created there, and that one was too easy. It was a quick transition from Germany, in fairness, and we were immediately on the back foot. But the other one was our mistake, and that's the one that worries me a little bit, because there has been some of that creeping in some games from certain players, losing possession too easily. So obviously, very good that we've kept clean sheets. And while I'm doing this, I just want to take my hat off to Jordan Pickford as well, because obviously we've both sat here and said we think Pope should be the number 1.
Yeah,
Burnley bias or not. I do still stand by the fact that Pope had a better season for Burnley than Pickford did for Everton. But it goes back to the old debate about this Pickford and Pope thing. Pickford has never let Southgate down for England. He always plays well for England, and that's why he's England's number 1. He might play shit every 3 weeks for Everton, but when he wears that England shirt, you don't really put in a Joe Hart performance against Iceland, does it? Against Iceland, sorry. He always delivers for England.
Yeah, I cannot. I mean, there was that save. There was the one where he tips it over the bar that we'll come to in a minute. He was 10 out of 10 this game, mate. Absolutely superb.
Yeah, he's been fantastic all tournament, so can't really.
But going to
really say anything.
Going back to the comment of there were holes in the back, but we played a match-up game. Both played 3 at the back, both played the wing backs, and unfortunately, when you play that, it becomes a 3-on-2 scenario. So there's always going to be a gap through the middle of the defence. So I'm not too concerned that we had the holes. I'm a little bit concerned about the pace that they had compared to us in defence. Like
the pace that we don't seem to have. Maguire and Stones have never been known as the fastest, have they? I'm sure stats could prove me wrong on that. Because there's some players that don't look fast, but the actual stats, you're like, Jesus, he's rapid. I'd say Chris Wood's probably a good example of that, because people don't tend to think he's fast, but it's just because he's so tall, he doesn't look like he's running fast. But he is. And of course, just before half-time, Harry Kane missed a golden opportunity, right? Raheem Sterling picks it up, runs at their defence, and then he kind of just falls to Harry, doesn't it? Because Raheem runs into a bit of a cul-de-sac, he gets tackled. In fair to Raheem, there's 5 Germany players just descend on him. But the ball sort of like bobbles to Kane, and a confident Kane scores that all day. Takes a touch to try and take it round Neuer. The touch is too hard, and he gets tackled by Rudiger and another defender. But again, that's another chance that Kane puts away. And people have been looking at, and I've just said it myself, about our defensive situation. The Jocks and the Welsh and the Irish have always saying, you were lucky because Muller had the chance and so did Werner. But we've spoken about 2 chances here that we should have scored. So it swings and roundabouts, isn't it? But yeah, that Harry Kane chance, I think if that falls in against Ukraine, now he's got his goal, he scores that, and the confident Harry Kane scores that.
Yeah, possibly. I do think the decision was made from him by the angle of the ball. More, I do think maybe the touch could have been a little bit softer, not giving the defender a chance. But he's done right. He's tried to get shifted onto his right foot to have a proper shot rather than lashing at it.
I agree with that.
That's one of them shots that when they do it first time, you're like, take a touch there, man.
Yeah, it's too far in front of him to hit it first time, isn't it? So I do agree with taking the touch there. But yeah, the touch could have been a little bit better.
Agreed, yeah, 100%.
Second half, and that's when we turned it on, really. Turned the screw indeed. We came out better in the second half, but it was Germany who had the first chance through Havertz, and obviously you've already mentioned it, the one where Pickford tips it over. It was one of them at the time. When he hit it, I'm like, it's too high, that. It's a bit like when I'm watching cricket and it hits him above the pad. I'm like, nah, too high. And I thought, it's going too high, that. It's going too high. So Mrs. was sat there and she went, I'm like, nah, it's going too high, that. Pickford had it anyway. But you look back at it, I think it probably is hitting the bar. Yeah, I think it probably is hitting the bar, but that's what I'm going to say. Maybe barring in, maybe barring bounce, barring VAR, goal line technology, ref points at his watch and runs away sort of vibe. So again, a good save from Jordan.
Yeah, what a save again. And it was really fast, that shot, weren't it? It
good effort. I like Havertz. And I don't say that about Chelsea players very often, but I do like Havertz. He's a very, very good player.
It came at him. He had very little time to react. strong hand, got it tipped it over the bar. Very good goalkeeper, very good reaction saves. We can say till we're blue in the face that it's only his feet that are keeping him in that England squad, but that was a very good goalkeeping save.
Yeah, like I said, I think now we'll probably all have the debate again next year when he's had another shit season for Everton. But every time he puts that England shirt on, he never lets us down. So I don't think I'll ever try and have that debate again. But let's get on to the goal, because that's what's coming up next. So we pick it up through Kyle Walker, who knocks it on to Sterling, who picks the ball up, runs at the defenders, gets it to Harry Kane, who gets it to Grealish, who, by the way, was the game changer. We'll get on to that. He gets it out to Luke Shaw, ball in, Sterling, 1-0. There it is. Such a good goal. I'm like you. I've dipped in and out. I watched it, had a few beers, bit drunk after it. So not really watched it too much. Just watching highlights then. I didn't realise at the time, because you're full of emotion, aren't you, when you're watching a game? Like, watching it there, that's such a good goal. Raheem Sterling does so well there, because he picks the ball up, runs at him, and it's a good goal. It's a very, very good team goal. And then the finish, obviously, people might say it's a tap-in, but even then, the ball in from Shaw is good, because it comes at pace and cuts all the defenders out. And then Raheem knocks it in. It's such a good team goal, that, and I'm watching it again. I'm buzzing with it again. Very, very good goal from England.
Do you know, like, when you say, it's a tap-in, do you know when we watch certain teams like Arsenal of old, and you see they're trying to walk it into the net? Goal there is exactly what them teams are trying to do when they're dicking it about at edge of box. But we did it fast, effectively, and some of the players that you've mentioned there that was in the build-up don't even get mentioned in our England teams, and they deserve some serious credit. And I mean, Luke Shaw, for one, has had an unbelievable season and is looking very good at the minute. Sterling doesn't get enough credit. He's the top goal scorer, and you don't have easy chances at that level unless there's a defensive mistake, and there was no defensive mistakes there. That was just a brilliant goal by a brilliant movement.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, I'm a bit torn on Sterling, because when he's on the ball, he loses it a lot. I know why he's in the team. He's in the team because of his off-the-ball movement and his pace. He drags us up the pitch. And then when he doesn't run into a cul-de-sac, he does what he does there and starts a goal. So I understand why he's in the team. And, of course, he scored 3 goals. Some of my tweets, when I'm high on emotion, could be worded better when I'm talking about Raheem Sterling. But just looking at that then, I think it made me realise sort of why people are singing his praises massively at the minute. Obviously, it's not just the 3 goals. He's doing stuff like that as well. Yes, he might have lost it 8 times out of 10. But then when he doesn't lose it, the Harry Kane chance that he should have scored, and then that chance there. But on the topic of Raheem Sterling, he then nearly fucks everything up by passing the ball straight to Kai Havertz, who then puts it into Muller. And as a commentator shouted at the time, this commentator doesn't, because I'm watching it on ITV highlights rather than the BBC. I will remember this for the rest of my life, because he's running through on goal. He goes, Muller, England's nemesis. And it goes wide, and he goes, but not today, or not this time, or something like that. And I was like, But obviously, at this point, the missus and the little boy got upstairs, because when England scored, I went sick. You know me, I shout and scream, and I look like a child when Burnley and England score. So little boy started crying, so them two went upstairs. Either having a bath, and then I'm like, no, as Muller's through on goal, and then he missed. I'm like, yes. So then she shouts, "Have we scored again?" Like, no, we haven't. It's that big of a celebration that he missed, because I was adamant he was going to score.
Oh, bless it. We were one of them shots where I wasn't convinced it was wide until it hit.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to nestle. That was the problem. It did. 100%. It looked in.
It broke me when he hit that bit, and then it went in. It went past the keeper, and by my vision, it was in the net. And then all of a sudden, the commentator,
it just wasn't.
The ball hitting the advertising boards. It was like you said. It was like a goal. It was ridiculous. How we missed that, I don't know. And another. He doesn't miss them.
Any play. If I could have chosen any German player to not be through on goal there, it would be Muller. And I don't know why I don't know how he's put. Pickford again has done very, very well. Let's give Pickford some credit there. He comes out and closes the angle down very, very well.
Forced the shot.
But I still think Muller has to score that, because Pickford can only do so much there.
Do you know what's
The
interesting?
best bit about that was Muller dropping to his knees, by the way.
Yeah.
That was,
well,
as the kids say, she straight. Oh, that were insane.
When he went wide, right, and he dropped to his knees, I turned to the person next to me, right, and I said, there's moments in a game when you're a fan and you go, that was a chance. Today is not our day. Like, you'll look at it and you think, we ain't getting anything today. We're done. But with English eyes watching that, we didn't think that. But I remember turning to the person next to me.
That was my next point. I was going to say, I never say that. I'm like, well, we fucked it now because they've got momentum. That's it.
But I remember thinking, and I turned to him next to me and I said, if we were German now, we'd be saying, that's it, game over. We're nothing for us today. But again, as an English fan, even though it happened, you still just can't get your head in it. But I knew that if I took myself away from the emotion of this game and looked at it from a third eye, this game was destined to be an English win. It just was.
Oh, I'm just watching him drop to his knees again. That's just sensational stuff. Sensational stuff. Of course, again, not long after that, we settled it. Luke Shaw has the ball in the middle of the park. Again, knocks it on to another man who was a game changer. Again, in Jack Grealish, who puts the ball in. One touch, bang, Kane header. Thank you very much. And that'll silence any idiots that have been saying that Harry Kane shouldn't be starting. I've seen some ridiculous shouts. And there's been one that's ridiculous that I'll tell you off air because the person will know that it's them who said it. And I don't want to say it because then they'll have a go at me. I've seen some ridiculous shouts. Some people have been calling for Dominic Calvert-Lewin to be in ahead of Harry Kane. Now, I agree Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a good footballer, but he's not even in the same breath as Harry Kane. I don't care if Harry Kane didn't score all tournament. He'd still start for the final for me if we got there. He is that good of a player. But I'm so happy that he scored because he deserves it so much. He's such a nice guy. I've never met him, but he comes across as a nice guy. And he's a brilliant footballer. He's a brilliant finisher. I've said it time and time again. There's only two people that are in the same bracket when it comes to finishing chances. That's him and Lewandowski. And I'm happy he's finally got that goal because he deserved it. And I think now he'll just go from strength to strength.
Honestly, when he scored, like I said, I don't really know the guy, but when he scored that goal and to watch him sliding on the floor when he celebrated, and I felt so buzzing, not just because England had scored, but it buzzing as much, equally, I dare say it, I was equally buzzing that it was Harry Kane as much as England scoring. I genuinely was that happy for him. Because if it was 1-0, fair enough, I wouldn't have cared who it were that scored. But if you wanted anyone to get that second goal to seal it, you wanted it to be Harry Kane. Everyone in the country will admit that. But just going, I want to tell a quick story. But you said about how nice of a guy. I've told you this story, but not obviously the listeners won't even know this. But when I once went to the England camp and I went to cut hair, and I met all these superstars, and I'm in a room, and I swear to God, it's no bigger than my living room, and there's just people coming in, Henderson, Kane, you name it. They're all walking through this room and talking to each other, and everyone just goes, all right, and says all right to me. And there was only two people in that room that, bear in mind, they're coming for haircuts, so they all, they're just saying hi to me, came up to me and introduced themselves to me and shook my hand and said, hiya, mate. And Harry Kane was one of them. And he's the biggest star that walked in that room, and he was the first person to come over to me out of about 10, 15 people that have been in at the time and said, hiya, mate, nice to meet you. My name's Harry. I'm like, yeah, my name's Simon, mate. Nice to meet you.
My name's Harry. Oh, is it? Is it? Harry. Funny.
But I just want to tell that story because you just said then he seems a nice guy, and it's little gestures like that that'll stick with me for the rest of my life as what a guy, because no one else did that at that point. And then the second person that did it to me, you'll know the answer, I think. I've told you the story, but I think you'll remember it. No one would ever guess it, but it was Fabian Delph.
Yeah, I do remember you telling me that, yeah.
And he was the only other person to the trips, Henderson, everyone like that, just walking in. All right, mate. But yeah, he is a top guy from what little I have met of him, which is only about 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, well, even the stuff you see of him, like he's married to his childhood sweetheart and things like that, whereas obviously the majority of footballers get money and, the rest is history. Just little stuff like that. I just like, and then obviously the interview afterwards, the commentator says to him, the interviewer says to him, like, what does that feel like, Harry? You've just beaten England. You've just beaten Germany at Wembley in the Euros, 1996, all them goals put to pass. Like, how does that feel? He just stops and he looks and he watches. he watches a crowd singing that Sweet Caroline song, and he's welling up, and he's like, oh, it's amazing. Like, and most footballers have got the shirt on back to front with the name there and all that bollock. He seems like such a genuine guy. And he gets a lot of stick during Premier League season as well, because he does that weird tackle where he puts his bum into people, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's a disgrace! It's a disgrace that we're a foreigner." He is. I really like Harry Kane a lot. And just going back to the goal again, while we all stop.
Harry Kane show.
I was going to say something rude. Then I thought probably best not. Kids listen to this. It's not an easy finish. It's a little bit behind him. He's got to crane his neck. Yeah, he's got a crane his neck. I'm not saying it's not a bad ball bag, really, because it's a good whip on it, but he's got to crane his neck and everything. So, it's not an easy goal to score that, but obviously Harry Kane managed to get it, and thank God he did.
Yeah, Muller were Muller. What am I about? Neuer was all over Gaff trying to decide where that ball was going. As soon as it hit Harry Kane's head, Neuer just threw his body. I don't think he had any idea where the ball was going. And he nestled it perfectly in the corner. It was possibly the hardest chance he's had all Euros, and he put it away.
Yeah. I agree with that. Obviously, Germany had another chance through Hazard, but it was an half and half chance. Not really going to go into it. Don't really care. But that were it then. That were the quarterfinals. Obviously, England through, beat Germany. The ghost of 1996 put to bed. Happy days. We're into the quarterfinals. The quarterfinals, of course, we'll quickly predict them and look ahead to them. Switzerland, Spain is the first one. I can't see anything other than a Spain win. I don't want to sound harsh because Switzerland have done very, very well to get to this stage. But I'm still thinking, and I've not been overly impressed with Spain as well. And I think I predicted them to go out in the last round, and they didn't. But I don't know. I'm still thinking maybe 2-0 Spain here. I just think Switzerland, they'll have been on such a high, and then they've got to then go again, and that can be very, very difficult mentally and physically. So I think Spain will just be like, right, they've got the different sort of mentality, like we're here, we're Spain, we know we've won it before, we can do it again. Whereas Switzerland have had their cup final, they've had their moment. So I'm thinking here, Spain 2, Switzerland 0.
Yeah, I think you say it more than I say it, but momentum being the thing in football. But this is, I believe, the furthest that Switzerland have got in a Euro competition. So I do think, unfortunately, it might be the end of the road for them. But not because Spain are overly that much better, but I just believe that the players are of a higher calibre than the Swiss players, and you would expect them to get through this level.
Yep, I agree with that. I would prefer it if Switzerland went through.
Absolutely.
And then got through to the final. When they play Belgium or Italy in the next round, that brings it on nicely to Belgium versus Italy. Now, I've already nailed my colours to the mast on this one. I'm thinking a Belgium win. I think there's going to be goals. I think there's going to be tense, though. I think it's going to be 0-0 at half time. One of them sort of games, and then Belgium turn the screw. I think I'm going to go 2-1 to Belgium.
And we're 1-0 Belgium.
So at least we're on the same page in terms of a Belgian win. I do think it'll be tense. I just think the second half, it might open up a bit more. So I think both teams have very good attacking players.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it probably should be a game of attacking options, but I think it starts getting nervy at this point, and I feel like looking at Belgium's previous, it should be a 1-0 to Belgium.
Czech Republic, Denmark. This is the only one I'm going for a shock for. Denmark are a better side. They have better players, but I think after everything they've been through, there comes a time where I think they will burn out as well. And I think they're at that stage now where they're going to burn out. I think Czech Republic are going to win this 1-0 with another Schick goal. Be a good goal, but it'll be by Schick.
I'm going Denmark. I think they're playing with something else at the minute, and we all know what that is. But that extra bit that you get against an average side, and I know they're an average side, but they've got a bit of a buzz about them at the minute, and they're wanting to win it for a reason higher than just themselves, and I think that will take them through.
Fair enough. And then, obviously, the big one, the one we're all shitting bricks about, the one we're all going to watch and hide behind the settee, Ukraine against England. And before we get all emotional about it, because obviously on the day of the game, I'm going to be like, oh, no, we're probably going to get beat. But we should be beating Ukraine. But as you said, it does get tense. And I'm probably looking at this through tense eyes again, whereas I don't with the Belgium-Italy game. Whereas with this one, I am looking at it with a little bit of tension inside me. I think Ukraine will be a defensive side to try and stop us. We don't suit teams that play defensively in our system, as we said earlier, but our system sort of like suiting the games where we're expected to be under a bit of pressure. Whereas in this game, we're expected to take the game to Ukraine. I don't think we'll take it to. And I think we'll stay as we are, as Southgate has done ever since, while been under a lot of pressure from fans. I think we'll ultimately come through it, but I'm thinking a 1-0 scrape, late goal, maybe even extra time. I hope not. We should have enough to see him off in 90 minutes, but I just think we'll be so tense. I'm thinking 1-0 England, just 1-0 England.
I'm thinking 2-0 England. I don't think it'll be emphatic. I don't think we're going to tail 4-5-0, but I do expect us to have a lot more of the ball. I do expect us to be the more dominant side throughout.
Hopefully that Germany game has sort of helped us grow a little bit and be more confident on the ball.
I even think you might see some changes in this game.
Well, fingers crossed one of them changes is Jack Grealish playing behind the front three. Mount could probably come back, to be fair, because Mount's been out of racing now for a while. Saka, as well as he's played, every time that Grealish has come on for him, we've looked a lot better going forward. So I do feel harsh on dropping Saka because he's come in for 2 games and had 2 very, very good performances. But Grealish is the key for me. He needs to be playing. And I understand if Southgate wants to bring him on when legs are tired because it's worked, hasn't it? I can't really complain about that anymore. And that's another thing I'm going to stop doing. I'm going to stop complaining about Southgate because maybe, just maybe, I'm wrong and he's right. I'm not convinced on that yet. We'll see. But I'm just going to let him do his thing now. I would rather Grealish start, though, than come off the bench.
I think, and I said this, I even said it to Tom Eaton, right, when he were at Villa at the time. No, he's not now, he's released. And he was at Villa at the time. And I said, when we were selecting the squad, I said, you have to put Grealish in that squad. I said, it's players like Grealish that win you World Cups. And we're just talking about football at the time. Because you have to have that special person that can just drag you through the game. Because everybody at that level is an elite footballer. They all know how to play the game. It's a game of chess at that level. But you need someone else who just who turns it into street football almost. Because he's that just skillful and naturally gifted. And for me, he has to be in an England 11 every single game. But contradicting, that's what I said at the beginning of the tournament. Contradicting that, he is an unbelievable asset to bring on at the 60th minute. He gets the crowd buzzing when you. It was 0-0, and the crowd cheering like we were getting beat 2-0. Oh, it's about bloody time. You know what I mean? It was. He has this special thing that I haven't seen a player have since Beckham in an England shirt.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm a very big fan of Jack Grealish. Even his interviews afterwards. There was an interview where the interviewer was saying well, obviously a lot of people have been calling you to start, but to be fair, it was a bit of a masterclass, wasn't it? Bringing you on, and then obviously you turned the screw and we were in 2-0, and he just looked so gormless while the commentator asking the question. He went, "Yeah, it was a master plan," and I was laughing my head off. Whereas this time 2 years ago, when I thought he was a diving little prick, I'd be like, "Oh, why are you so gormless, you git?" But now he's turning it on for England. I'm contradicting myself, and I absolutely love him.
Yeah, I mean, you'll remember I said it, didn't I, when he come up from the Championship. I'm like, this boy is special, mate. He's very good. And thankfully now he's not just done it at the Championship, he's done it in the Premier League, and now he's doing it in the Euros. He's a superstar.
Yeah, so the semi-finals will take place if we get there during the week, and of course the final at the weekend, and the third place playoff, if there is one. I'm not sure if there is. Some competitions don't have them. But of course, if you listen to this on Friday, the quarterfinals start today, but England play tomorrow on Saturday. Where are you watching it, Simon?
At home, mate. Are you coming here?
I don't know yet. The cricket club, Lower House Cricket Club, was absolutely... But I could hear them from my house. So, of course, I live near there now. And I had my back window open. Oh, I could hear afterwards the Three Lions, Vindaloo, World in Motion. I'm like, I need to be over there. I want to be at a party next time because I was sat here on my own. Well, not on my own, Mrs. Ray, but you know
we
what I mean.
We had a class party here when you came last time.
Yeah, when you had your shed. There's no shed.
I know.
Shed's out of action.
We still had a good doing here. I bought a soundbar and everything now for in here.
That cricket club looks good. I'll see what cricket club are doing. Maybe you should get down there as well. Though benches on outfield and everything, mate. You can get L Dog and Wes Dog down as well. But that's it from us for this week. There will be one next week. Hopefully there'll be 2 next week, one before the final. There'll definitely be one after the quarterfinals. Whether we'll be in a good mood or a bad mood is another thing. And then again, there'll be one after the semis. And then if we win, who knows, there might be one after the final. We'll probably be pissed for about a week if we go on to do what we could do here. But that's it. Anything you want to add, Simon, before we go?
Just a quick good luck to... we might even get another podcast in before it even starts, but I did Chris Woods there today, and he's off to the Olympics on Sunday for New Zealand, so...
Yeah, we'll definitely get one in before then, hopefully, because I think it starts early August, doesn't it? Olympics?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but good luck to him. And I'm a New Zealand fan in the Olympics for the football because I want to see Chris Wood do well.
Yeah, of course. Good luck, Woody.
Did you know he already scored for in Olympics?
I did not. Did he score in 2016 by any chance?
2012.
What, in London?
In London against Egypt, and Mo Salah scored for Egypt as well.
Interesting.
That today.
There you go. That's a good fact. There you go. So thanks for coming on, Simon.
Yeah, see you in a bit.
I'll see you on COD in about 5-10 minutes. But yeah, thanks for listening. And there'll definitely be one next week. And they'll try and get in 2 next week if England progress to the semi-finals. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you then.